Dear friends, welcome to another episode in the fantastic world of the military. In this video, we will discuss a controversial statement made by Pope Francis, who said that Ukraine should raise the white flag and negotiate with Putin himself, stating that any negotiation in Ukraine will be on terms imposed by Moscow. What did the Pope really mean by this? In an interview given to a Swiss radio station, 87-year-old Pope Francis, in response to a question about his position in a debate between those who say that Ukraine should give up, since it was unable to repel and expel Russian invading forces, and those who argue that Ukraine should persevere in its struggle to ensure its independence. The Pope said, regarding Ukraine, the best is one who thinks of the people and has the courage of the white flag to negotiate. The Pope also said that the word negotiate is courageous, and that when you see that you are defeated, you need courage to negotiate. It was the first time that Pope Francis used the terms white flag, a symbol of surrender and defeat, to refer to Ukraine. But what did the Pope mean by this? And in practice, what does this effectively mean in the context of the Russian invasion of Ukraine? The Pope is, for very obvious reasons, a pacifist. All popes of the modern era have been so, including Pope John Paul II, who, despite facing Soviet communism head-on and ensuring the freedom and sovereignty of his homeland, Poland, contributing to the collapse of the Soviet Empire, he too has always been a pacifist, who has often advocated for peaceful resolution of conflicts. Therefore, Pope Francis, following this pacifist line, called for the white flag and negotiation. But in my opinion, he failed deeply by not asking Vladimir Putin to end his aggression and conquest war, which is, incidentally, the fastest and most immediate way for that terrible conflict to end. This leads us to the second part of the question. What does this statement by Pope Francis effectively mean in the current context of the Russian invasion of Ukraine? In this context, the white flag for negotiation would mean, in practice, the unconditional surrender of Ukraine. Considering that Vladimir Putin has said several times that any negotiation in Ukraine must follow 100% of all terms and conditions imposed by Russia. In other words, negotiation, in quotes, in Ukraine would inevitably result in the loss of territories, the fall of the government, and the transformation of what remains of Ukraine into a mere Russian puppet state, similar to what is happening today with Belarus. Therefore, Pope Francis's statement is excellent for Vladimir Putin's Russia, as it would result in the victory of his territorial expansion and conquest war, potentially even acting as an incentive for other wars of expansion and conquest, with countries like China seeing in the Pope's words a kind of blank check to invade and annex Taiwan. And in South America, this could result in wars, with Venezuelan dictator Nicolás Maduro feeling motivated to invade Guyana to annex the Essequibo, as he has been threatening to do for years, since, in the words of the Supreme Pontiff, it does not matter who starts a war. What matters is to end it with a white flag and negotiations. In other words, for the Pope, ultimately, it does not matter who the aggressor is. What matters is that the war ends, even if the aggressor emerges victorious and the victim ceases to exist. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe and activate the notification bell to not miss any news, criticisms, ideas, or suggestions. You can leave them in the comments.
È più forte quello che vede la situazione, pensa al popolo e ha il coraggio della bandiera bianca e negoziare. E oggi si può negoziare con l'aiuto delle potenze internazionali, ci sono, no? Quella parola negoziare è una parola coraggiosa. Quando tu vedi che sei sconfitto, che la cosa non va, avere il coraggio di negoziare. Ti vergogna, ma te su, continui così, quanti morti e poi? E finirà peggio ancora. Negoziare in tempo, cercare qualche paese che faccia da mediatore. Oggi per esempio con la guerra in Ucraina sono tanti che vogliono fare un mediatore, no? La Turchia per esempio, non avere vergogna di negoziare prima che le cose sia peggio.